What's going on, everybody? It's Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. Finally, some volume coming back into the market today. We had a bunch of plays that did phenomenal in both directions. I'm going to go over them briefly. And then also AMC did everything that we expected to happen. The bullish setup was there. There was nothing but strength until we got to about that 44, 50 level of resistance. Any of the institutions that have their algorithms on this know that that's a strong level of resistance and profit taking was going to occur. However, the sell-off was very small. The shorts did not pile onto it. As I was looking at the time and sales in the level twos, not seeing really the shorts trying to capitalize on the downwards trend. We still ended the day about even. We're going to take a look on exactly where it stands. But before we get into AMC, I want to talk about this stock right here, Rivian Automotive. First thing, when anybody, it was kind of funny today because how many times have we heard about the fundamentals being poor about AMC, the fundamentals not backing up AMC's price valuation, market valuation, everything, talking about EBITDA, future cash revenue, and all the struggles they're going to have, their debt load, and so forth. And here we have this new IPO of an EV company that has less than 200 vehicles on the road that are driven strictly by employees, probably some private investors, and some other high up executives as well. And you have a company that is now going to have a market cap at the close of today, probably somewhere around the $150 billion mark, making it more valuable than almost General Motors and Ford combined. Okay, and there's numerous articles out there talking about the struggles that they are going to incur in the future. They do have, it's funny here, $0 revenue, and their operating income is going to be negative $1 billion. I think they have about a total of, I want to say somewhere around $20 to $25 billion that they had raised from their funding and from their merger, which is understandable, but they eat through that in order to be able to get their vehicles on the road coming forward. But just keep that in mind that when there's momentum behind a stock, when there's a natural supply and demand, and if you look at this chart, because the first few days, there are some smaller platforms that don't have shorts available. The options chain was not available until today. However, a lot of, the large guys and other ones that trade on these short selling platforms did have shorts available. But as you can see, there was nothing but buying power and strength throughout it. And it just goes to show that when there's momentum behind a stock, the fundamentals, the valuation, anything that is, like the old school investing of your long-term investing strategies just completely gets thrown out the window. And this, like I said, it goes to show it going forward. So just keep that in your mind whenever they talk about it. And I was laughing about it because how many times did we hear that about AMC going forward? Now let's talk about our plays really quickly before we get back into AMC. I had mentioned Rivian, Lucid, GGPI, which really didn't do much for us, and Tesla. All of these had paid off except for this one. It didn't really get to that above that 1620 mark. They're all of the same sector, 168. I said this is gonna go 5 or more. Lucid was a no-brainer, 157. This was perfect right here. I said, don't marry this one because it does need to cool off. $47 and $46 levels of support. It beautifully bounced off 46.50 as profit taking was going to occur at the open because naturally it was just up so much, and look for a reversal from there to move higher. That one was perfectly. And we also had a couple shorts as well going into the day. Always love it when all of the plays, really work out on both sides and everybody can get a piece to it. Now let's take a look at AMC. As you can see, it closed pretty much even. The volume was almost at 50%. If we look at where it stands on the chart, we've mentioned this numerous times. There was a lot of resistance here. Okay, back at this $44 level, it's bounced off that a few times going forward. However, we still have a green candle. We still are confirmed into that uptrend. Okay, we're still far above the 50 moving average, which is nice, and we didn't bounce back like we have previously. So if you look at even the day prior, we were almost touching that $44 level. Tomorrow will be a good test. Are we going to get through it, or are we going to curl back around? I would like to see it hold above that $38 level, showing we're making higher lows in order to make that next leg up. But even after hours, and it's only been, just 10 minutes, but it's still holding well. And if you look at the intraday, we'll look at this at the 5-minute chart because it just shows a little bit better. There was nothing but strength throughout the entire day. These are solid blocks moving all the way up to the upside. We got to that level of resistance, and this was profit taking on the way down. I didn't see this as shorts adding onto it, and I'd be surprised to see if retail was continuing to play this. They might have been, because the range was there, knowing that at the beginning of the day it did get down to below 41.50, so it might have given that $2 to $3 range, which is enough range for a quick day trader to take a short position. But like I said, it hung very, very well. We normally don't see this. It normally pulls back much harder and goes into a little bit deeper of a dive going forward. So that was strong. Lastly, I want to talk quickly about where just the market stands overall. The SPY almost hit all-time highs. We've seen a much lower curl here. Let me zoom back out real quick just to show everybody that when we saw this previous pattern bouncing off the 50 moving average, well, it got broke when we dipped down to the 100 moving average, had a little bit of divergence here, and then really broke strong to the upside. We have a small curl. I will mention this as well. I told everybody in the group today, Goldman Sachs had posted that they expect the S&P to close at 5,100 by the end of the year, still giving it about a 10% move higher. Actually, I think it's a little under 10%, about an 8% move higher, and that's by the end of the year. So a lot of strength coming in here, a little bit of, like I said, a little curl right here. It'll be nice to see us to get through, especially after a few days of just slow volume. So keep that on your radar. There are a few plays that are on the earnings that did dip, giving us good opportunities. Disney was another good one that I'm still waiting to find a little bit of a bottom here. Their earnings were poor and their streaming services had changed a little bit, which is understandable because obviously this was built up to be, a stay-at-home play. However, I do think their streaming services are going to stick around for the while. It's a great, addition that Disney had made to their revenue. Look for it to find a little bit of support coming through. Anytime you can get this below 160, it'd be nice even to get this somewhere closer towards the 150 range. You do see it starting to try to form a little bit of a base right here. I would wait to see it to give it a little bit more time. But all these large caps are going to benefit greatly. And lastly, AMC just getting tighter and tighter on that wedge to we break that to the upside going forward. But like I said, staring at the charts today after I've done for quite some time, it was still nice to see there's the solid blocks coming through. You weren't getting that seesaw. It was consistent buying. I showed you the time and sales in my last video, so we're going to look to keep that going. But that's it for this video, guys. I'll see you in the next one.